Echo Fang Grey Wolf. Welcome to Kung Fu Habit number 2. This is part 3, and before I get started, this is my second attempt at part 3 for overstepping, misstepping, misstating some shit that is truthful, but the way I worded it was not truthful. Okay? So again, first let me apologize to y'all for all the interruptions that I've had that's gotten me this far to this video. I'm pretty sure there will be another interruption, so I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I possibly can. Please ignore the swinging thing, and there are possibly children in the background on that porch there. Ignore them. So, as I said, I left off with the guy. He's like, at the time, he was 135 pounds. He was like 300 pounds. And I put him in a rear naked choke, and we weren't allowed to do that. So now, moving forward, when you do, and also I'm 5'3" and a half. So, also, when you are doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, you need to be on the ground. And you have to have good ground game so you can tap people out. But in the streets, no one's tapping you out, okay? No one's tapping you out. And as I said in the video on TikTok, not all fights go to the ground. It depends on who you are actually fighting. If you are fighting a wrestler, you're going to have a hard time getting him to the ground, and getting him to the ground could be a big fucking mistake for you. If you are fighting another BJJ expert, now it comes down to who's got the better skill set, all right? But if you are a BJJ person and you are fighting someone who is a standing fighter, a striker or a counter striker, you're not getting them to the ground because you have to get through their strikes and counter strikes. And if you can't get through that, your BJJ is not going to do you very well. And my problem with BJJ is I can't get big people on the ground because I'm small. If I try to spear someone, I'm a heartbeat away from getting thrown across the room. All right? Where if you try to come to the ground on me, like for instance, I'm standing straight and you come to grab this leg. So when you come to grab this leg, what's to stop me, boom, from kneeing you in the face? That's something that y'all BJJ people aren't understanding when I say that BJJ is not going to help you in a street fight. Because it's not. If y'all are rolling and playing around, it's fine. Again, BJJ is a martial art, but it is also a sport. Now, if you want to flip a coin on saying which one it's more of, I'm going to say you're going to get mad, and I'm going to tell you like it is. It's more of a sport than a martial art. Same thing that they say about MMA, and I like MMA because I also do MMA because I study other martial arts than just Kung Fu and Karate, and I mix them all together. So, mixed martial arts. You know, I do it. I don't do it professionally, but it is a way of life for me because I started off with Karate, switched over to Kung Fu. I reincorporated Karate. I started doing Kempo, Kung Fu, and other martial arts combined. I know a little capoeira. There's a lot of martial arts that I know. Let's put it that way. All right? So I am fairly well-rounded. I was a lot more well-rounded when I was younger, but, you know, age eventually does get in our way. All right? Understand that shit. Does that mean a 20-year-old can come down here and whoop my ass? Nope. It just means I got to work when that 20-year-old shows up to whoop my ass. Because, you know, age is a factor. All right? Now, I will say age and only age is a factor. But that does not mean that your 20-year-old ass is going to come down here and beat mine. It just means I have to put in that work. I have to have enough cardio to last as long as you. All right? A lot of people don't understand how fighting works. All right? You got a lot of people that you follow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc., etc., but a lot of them don't explain how fighting works. All right? So, first and foremost, fighting works is if I hit you or you hit me. Second part of that fighting is which one of us is going to get up first, if we even go down. See how that works? If I throw a punch and you take it on the chin, and you don't go to sleep, which means you have a steel chin, which means you can take a hit to the face. You know you can take a hit to the face. You just don't know how hard I'm going to be able to hit you in the face. That's how fights work. I'm on that same side. I can take a hit to the face. Do I have a glass jaw or do I have a steel chin? We are going to find out if I can get back up from that first hit. Am I going to be leaking? You won't know none of this shit until you take that fucking kick. How many martial artists are on these platforms telling y'all that right there? You don't know you can take a hit until you get hit. You really don't. You can train until the cows come home. But this is that thing about training. When you don't have a training partner and y'all aren't gloved up, you don't know how much you can take. You really don't. You don't have the headgear. You don't have the mouthpiece. You do not know how much you can take unless you are living this life professionally, like as a fighter, as a wrestler, or some kind of shit like that, stuntman. You will not know until you get hit. So when the fight is a real fight, not many martial artists are saying this. I'm gonna say it because the fucking truth. You don't know what the fuck's gonna happen until you get hit. You don't. You know what's gonna happen until you get kicked. You get kicked the wrong way, you're going to sleep. You kick the right way, you're going to sleep. So it really doesn't matter. Or something's gonna get broken. You know? And like I said, you don't have too many people like me telling you this is how the fucking shit works, alright? If I hit you and you have a glass jaw, if I'm lucky, you'll have a glass jaw and you'll go to sleep. If I hit you and you have a glass jaw, but it doesn't knock you out, it just knocks you back a little bit, and then you can pop right back into action. Your glass jaw isn't glass, that motherfucker's probably steel, which means I have to fucking work, alright? And this is the thing about fighting. You're gonna have to fucking work. No matter what anybody tells you, no matter how big the guy is on the other side of that battlefield, you're going to have to fucking work. If that guy's as small as me, you're going to have to work. If that guy's as big as you or big as anybody else watching this thing, if they're as big as The Rock or Undertaker or any of those motherfuckers, you're going to put in that work. Whether you like it or not, you're going to put in that work. Unless they're a 400-pound weakling and you can knock them out with one hit. Maybe you're a one-hitter quitter. But that's not always going to work all the time. Because you don't know who that other person is until you throw the punch or the kick. You don't. No martial artist seems to be explaining this to y'all, and y'all think I'm full of shit because I don't have a fucking belt and because I haven't fought professionally. But see, I haven't fought professionally, but I have fought in the streets. I've been fighting in the streets before most of y'all were born. I stopped fighting when I was 12. I never got a break from the UFC. No one would take me because I'm 5'3". No one would take me because up until I got into the Army, I couldn't gain weight. My highest weight was 140. That's it. And now because of my hip replacement, I have to stay at 125. Alright, they do not want me going past 130. They said 130 is too much, 125 is best. If you can keep between 125 and 127, that's where we want you. We don't want you going anywhere over that. And I haven't weighed myself in a while, so I don't know how much I fucking weigh. But I'm trying to keep it at 125. I may have lost weight all this week from the stress that I've been under. Maybe I've lost 100 pounds today just because of the stress I've been under. But the point being made is, if you do BJJ, you know it's more of a sport than a fight. Alright? If you're fighting with BJJ and you're fighting someone who has no fighting experience, yeah, you're going to beat the brakes off their shit. If you're fighting a white belt and you are a purple belt or a blue belt in BJJ, you're going to beat the brakes off their ass. And if they have no martial art experience at all, and they come into BJJ, which I never suggest that BJJ is your first martial art. I never suggest that shit. I tell people, if you want to learn martial arts, I'm going to tell you what I suggest. Kung Fu or Karate. Start there. Hell, I'll put Taekwondo in the mix. Start there. Because you're not going to have to be exposed to a lot of ground and pound in those arts. Now, if you want to accelerate your game and you want to do BJJ, I'm not going to stop you. But I'm also going to suggest maybe you want to do capoeira. Maybe you want to do animal styles. Maybe you want to take up one martial art that I haven't ever done, which is Kali. Maybe you want to take up Sistema. Maybe you want to take up Krav Maga. Maybe you want to take up anything and everything but BJJ. Why did I suggest that? Because 9 times out of 10, all of those martial arts are going to keep you on your feet. Alright? Now, I know you're all going to say, but hey, all fights go to the ground. No, they don't. A minority of the fights go to the ground because the person that they are fighting either has no experience or they just fucking suck. Now, it's just that simple. And generally, if a fight goes to the ground, you need to know how to fall. Alright? If someone's taking you down, you need to know how to fall. And you make sure you land flat on your back and put your knees up. So when they're coming on top of you or they're tackling you, you can either dump and roll their shit like you would in judo, or you just lay flat on your back and put your knees into their chest or their sternum, and then you only really need one. Jet Li did it in Fearless when the guy fell on top of him and held him with his knee on his gut, you know. So you need to know where to place your fucking physicality stuff, you know. If you put this knee on this sternum and you land on your back and you put your knee on him, it keeps him from getting on top of you. It's the same thing when I tell people if you're coming in for a tackle. If you're coming to tackle me, I'm going to knee you and I'm going to elbow you in your spine. Now in sports, that's illegal. I don't do sports. I do real martial arts. So I'm going to tell you, you know, if someone's coming to spear you, you need to be ready. And if you're going to get speared, you're going to get speared. You need to accept it. If you're going to get tackled, you're going to get tackled. You need to accept it. But you need to be able to counter that tackle. Alright? Which is why I said if somebody's coming in for a single leg takedown, they're going to eat this knee. If they're reaching in, this is my leg, they're reaching. I'm standing in a fighting position, they're reaching. They got to come down. I'm short. So if you're coming down to grab my leg, boom, I'm going to feed it to you. I'm going to feed your chin my knee. Whether you like it or not, this is reality. All right? No one's just going to let you take them to the ground. No one. You're going to work to take somebody to the ground. I'm already short. So I'm not letting you take me to the ground because I know what happens next. You know, and unless I can get you in an armbar or reverse guillotine, I got problems. I don't like problems. I like solving them before they happen, which is exactly why if you're coming in to get me, I'm going to eat this knee to your face. You're going to get it, whether you like it or not. And I'm hitting you with bad intentions. I'm not playing with you. I'm making sure that this shit ends really, really swiftly with you going to the hospital. I might go to jail for this shit, but I'm going to make sure I fuck your world up. You're going to think twice before you do that to anybody else if you fucking survive this shit. And that's the thing that a lot of people aren't telling you about martial arts. This shit is not for sports. This shit is fucking legit to fuck people's shit up. Alright? You may not like that I said that, and a lot of people are going to come at me for that shit, but a lot of martial artists who are street fighters or UFC professionals, they're going to tell you the same shit. This shit is made to fuck you up. It's just that simple. Now, we reword that shit when you go into a dojo, when you want to learn martial arts. You say, I want to learn to defend myself. Because no teacher in their right mind is going to sit here and listen to somebody say, why do you want to learn martial arts? And then the person replies with, I want to fuck people up. Most martial arts teachers are going to throw that person out. It's like, respectfully, that's not why I teach martial arts here. Go. Because you're not supposed to teach people the bad parts of martial arts. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell you the goddamn truth. I don't want you to come to my dojo and say, I want to learn how to fuck people up. I would prefer you come to my dojo and say, I want to learn how to defend myself. I want to learn how to protect myself. I want to learn how to keep people from fucking me up as peaceful as possible. Because most martial artists will tell you, if at all possible, you walk away from a fight until you can't. And when you can't, then you go all out. Now, a lot of people are going to come at me for that. A lot of professionals are probably going to come out from me if that comes at their video or come up across them or whatever. And here's my words to them. Prove me wrong. No, you're not just going to sit there and let somebody take your ass to the ground. You're going to fight because that's what the fuck you were trained to do. You're not going to sit there and say, oh, well, I'm going to let this guy take me to the ground where he may have the tactical advantage. Not on me, buddy. One, I'm not letting you take me to the ground. Excuse me. Two, if you are approaching me with bad intentions, I'm going to deliver bad intentions in kind. Alright? So I don't do BJJ. Now, if we're in a gym and you're like, hey man, you want to roll? And I'm like, okay, look, before we roll, I got to let you know I'm a little damaged, so I can't do a whole lot of fucking rolling. If you're going to put me in leg locks, I need to know beforehand because I'm doing this at my own risk. I have hip replacement. I got no business fucking rolling. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to do jujitsu and work on, let me put you in this hole, and you let me know how much pressure you can take before, tap out, I can do that because you're working on my arms. As far as I know, my arms are good. You can put me in the rear neck and choke, and we want to practice getting out of the rear neck and choke. Okay, we can work on that because that's training that I am willing to do. As far as rolling on BJJ, if we got to start, I got to be on the bottom, and you got top mount, and I got to roll you off and shit like that. If you outweigh me by 100 pounds, that shit's not going to happen. Now, if it's reversed, and you're like, all right, well, I'll be on the bottom, you be on the top, and then you do side mount, side guard, and try to take the arm. Okay, I can do that because it's less danger of me fucking myself up. You know what I mean? Where if you're on top and I'm supposed to roll you off, it's a high capability that I'm not going to be able to roll you off. However, doesn't mean I'm not going to roll with you. It just means I need to be aware that I can't roll your big ass off. I also know that I'm not allowed to headbutt you in your shit. I learned that in the army. But at that same time, you have to understand, if you're fighting somebody who's not a BJJ expert, you can mop the floor with their ass. Any goddamn day of the week, you are going to mop the floor with their ass. Is it fair? Yes, it is. You know why it's fair? Because that idiot made the choice to roll with you, and they learned the lesson. And then, that person might surprise you, and they might whoop your ass. Because this is why I hate the belt structure. I say this all the time. The belt structure is a system of control. You can have a blue belt, black belt, in any martial art and still get your ass kicked by somebody who don't even know martial arts. And they don't tell you that shit either, right? Of course they don't. Some people are just real good at fighting. Some people are real good at adapting. And if you're going across one of those people that is real good at fighting or real good at adapting, you may have a fucking problem. and that's the part that everybody tends to lay off when you are watching these martial artists on these platforms. They don't tend to tell you, hey, well, this guy doesn't have a lot of experience. And then you got those hustlers who are full on black belts, but wear a white belt to class so that they can fuck up other white belts or those cocky people. And again, I'll say this because I'm gonna get a lot of flack for it. I don't give a damn where you are, who you are, what you are. In martial arts, you can't untrain a martial artist. All right, and this is another reason why I hate the black belt system, because if I am a black belt in karate and I come to learn taekwondo, I gotta start at white belt level, which I consider to be utter bullshit. Nobody likes that I said that. It's fine, but I still consider that to be utter bullshit, because think about it. I got all these years in karate, and now I'm taking taekwondo. So what's the difference? Being that all kicks and punches are pretty much the same, no matter what style it is. There's like that bit of a difference, and you have to have a trained eye to understand. Like, this is a kung fu hit. Boom, I close on impact. Where this is already closed for karate and boxing and taekwondo. Right? And it also depends on which style of kung fu. If I'm doing snake, mouth open, crane, mouth closed. If I'm doing tiger, if I'm doing dragon, tiger and dragon strikes are the same. Block, twisting dragon, that's for a front kick that's coming right here, so you catch it and you twist it and you pull and you strike. Okay? I call it a twisting dragon because that's what I was taught it was called. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm still going to call it a twisting dragon because that's what I was taught that it was called. And I say, high tiger strike, so you're axe kicking, I'm blocking, and I'm striking. So when I pull here, I'm hitting, this has your leg here, so I'm hitting your other leg here, and then I'm hitting here, and I can snatch. Understand? But I'm still in the tiger position. So, high tiger strike, and then strike. No, I'm striking. Snake strike, boom, I just hit your kick. It went to crane, by the way, but snake here, I just stuck under your calf, boom. Now I can pull and I can strike. Same with the crane block and a strike. Karate crane and kung fu crane are pretty much the same. I don't think karate has any other animal but the crane. I'm not going to swear to that because I can be wrong. But I learned crane kung fu. Do I know all of crane kung fu? Nope. But I know enough to recognize it and enough to fuck somebody up who's using it. Of course, there are other issues of crane kung fu that I don't know, which means if I don't recognize it, they're going to fuck me up with it. Same thing with snake, same thing with tiger, same thing with dragon. The forms I know, somebody else may know more. Those prodigies that come from the family who teach dragon style or mantis style or any style would be the ones I'd have to worry about. But if I see you breaking the tiger and you like, and then you decide you're going to use tiger, and I decide to just go, no, I'm in dragon, and this is like the first dragon form. So this is just getting here. It was like form 1. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do. But all the fucking kicks look exactly the same. All of them. Because a kick is a kick and a punch is a punch at the end of the day. It is not how you throw the kick or the punch. It is where you throw the kick or the punch. Which is something else that a lot of you martial artists are not telling people. Alright? So if you know BJJ and you're better at BJJ, I can almost guarantee you, as long as you are in a BJJ arena, in a dojo, you're going to whoop everybody's ass. But if you get out on the streets and you're doing BJJ, the only thing I can tell you is you're not tapping anybody out. So you better have an exit plan for when they get up. And BJJ generally only works on the ground. A lot of people are going to be mad at me. A lot of you BJJ enthusiasts are going to tell me I'm full of shit, and that's fine. I don't know BJJ that well. I only know enough of what the Army taught me. So I can be wrong with that. But what I'm not wrong with is how fights work. I'm not wrong with how street fights work. Because while you're in the dojo learning BJJ, I was fighting in the streets before your ass was born. Because I'm 48. Now for the warrior class of martial artists that came before me, they're going to tell me something different. They're not going to contradict me as much as the younger group, but they're going to say, all right, well, Echo, you're not wrong, but you're not all the way right. And I know that I'm not right. I know that I'm not wrong. But you have to go by your experience. And I'm going to tell you from experience that I can beat you with this Gatorade bottle long before you get me on the ground to put me in any kind of hole from BJJ as long as I see you coming. Alright? Now, in the streets, this is a weapon. So if you come at me, boom, 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 you know, I'm hitting you in your sternum or I'm hitting you under the chin. I'm going to take complete and controlled hold of you with this goddamn plastic Gatorade bottle. Why? Because a true martial artist, anything they touch becomes a part of their skill set. That's it. You know, these things right there, those things. If it's outside and we're in a street fight, you better believe you're going to eat some of it. Why? Because you don't see shit like this in the dojo. Let me make another video about the 70-30. I know I've made this video before, but I'm going to do it again. But before I end this, I just want to let you guys understand. I do not have a problem with any martial arts whatsoever. I suck at BJJ. I will always base on BJJ only because I suck at it. I will never earn rank in BJJ because it's not for me. BJJ is more of a sport martial art, the way my favorite martial art, Wushu, has become. Right? Wushu has become a straight entertainment mecca. When you go to a Wushu contest, you won't be disappointed. You won't be bored. I promise you won't. When you're watching these people do all these sword forms and you get to watch their choreographing and all that shit, you won't be disappointed. You will have seen some mind-blowing ass shit. But someone who knows Wushu won't do that shit in actual combat because it has become more of a sport versus what it used to be. Okay? Same thing with Taekwondo. When Taekwondo became a sport, thank you, Herb Perez, for making me know who Taekwondo was and what it was and making me want to learn it. And I know Taekwondo. I don't have a belt in it. I've done a lot of push-ups, but I've beaten a lot of black belts in other martial arts because I've combined everything that I know to fight people. I mix that shit up. If I can't beat you with karate, I'm damn sure going to try kung fu. If my kung fu's not getting through, it's capoeira time. I'm not really good at capoeira. But if I'm good enough to throw you off your game, I'm going to win that fucking fight. And that's the point. You have to know how fights work. You're not going to outbeat somebody if they outrank you with the style, is the lie that they have taught us. Alright? I got a belt on. It's tan. It's made out of a seat belt. Came from the military. It's got my name on it. And I can almost guarantee you, no matter what fighting style you are taking, you need to be able to adapt. You need to understand how fights work. Because getting hit in the face by the right person puts you to sleep. But you got to get through their defenses. No one's telling you that. You have to get through their defenses. So the next video I'm going to do, it's going to be small. It's about the 70-30. And you're probably not going to like it if you're a martial artist, and I'm preparing you for that right now. But the thing is, you have to understand how this shit works. I mean, literally, you having a black belt has nothing to do with your skill set when you get into a street fight. Not at all. So either you're going to be really good or you're going to get really hurt. Choice is yours. You got to practice this shit outside of the dojo just as much as you practice it inside. It has to be a way of life, or your ass ain't going to fight. Thanks for watching. Be seeing you.